Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to our next and the final panel session of this two-day summit, Responsible Digital Marketing, Duty, Desire, or Both. And before I invite the panel members, we will set the stage. And during that time, let me utilize it in giving you a few pointers of discussion which this panel is going to talk about. Journey from personalization to hyper-personalization, shifting from a target group towards an individual level artificial intelligence, new technologies ensuring the insurers, how an AI-fueled content marketing is driving the customer experiences today, how using data analytics to create a proper segmentation and media plan is happening, emergence of fully automated, always-on marketing schemes, techniques for optimizing marketing assets, measuring the ROI for your marketing campaigns, how to build a strategy that meets the evolving expectations of customers, and aligning people, process, and technologies to recognize the customer journey. With that, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time I invite the honorable panel members, and please help me welcome them with a big round of applause. Joining us first in the panel, Mr. Vijaybahu Joshi, Assistant Vice President and Head of Experience Design from Juhu. A big round of applause to Mr. Joshi. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Jayant Jain, Vice President, Marketing and Customer Service and Head of Loyalty from Reliance Retail. A big round of applause to Mr. Jain. Welcome to the panel, Mr. Jain. Delighted to have you. Please take your seat. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Ashok Jaiswar, Vice President and Head of Marketing and Communication, Finolex Industries. A big round of applause to Ashok ji. Welcome to the panel, sir. Please have your seat. Joining next in the panel, we have Mr. Gaurav Vig, Director of Rooms from Radisson Blue Mumbai International Airport. A big round of applause to Gaurav ji. Welcome to the panel, Gaurav. Please have your seat. Joining next, we have Mr. Rajan Sharma, General Manager Marketing from Daikin Airconditioning India. A big round of applause to Rajan ji. Welcome to the panel. Please have your seat. And now I would like to call on the honorable panel moderator, Mr. Ninad Raje, Director and CIO, HealthAssure. A big round of applause to Ninad. Ninad, welcome to the panel. Please have your seat. So Ninad, over to you for this fantastic panel, and I'm wishing you all the best.
Thank you, the anchor. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody out here. Wow, it's basically a full house, I guess, since morning. And it's an absolute pleasure to be a part of this particular session. I think since morning we have learned a lot about CX, customer experience, and so on and so forth. And I promise you that we're not going to have a monotonous dialogue here. We're going to be having an interactive session. We're going to have a very free-flowing discussion as well. I really promise you that. So, I mean, I also, on behalf of the India CX Summit, I also thank and welcome the panel members here. And since I spoke about the interactive sessions also, today, by the way, does anybody know what day are we celebrating today? The 15th of September today. Anybody? I can see a hand out there. Couple of hands there. Anybody? Engineers Day. That's absolutely right. Give her a good round of applause, please. Engineers Day. I'm sorry. International, but then there is a reason for that. It's being Indian. Right. So you're absolutely right. Today being the Engineers Day is considered and celebrated because of the Shri Vishweshwaraya. He made a lot of contributions towards science and technology for us. And of course, today we're talking about CX, but we're also going to talk about CX and a mix of marketing, digital marketing, and technology as well. By the way, you know, it is essential. I mean, digital marketing is of course essential, right? However, is digital marketing really good? Is it better or is it best? Is digital marketing or responsible digital marketing a duty, a desire, or both? What is it? Is it really a differentiator? How does one go beyond digital marketing? Now, these are very, very pertinent questions, which I'm sure all of you want to know and understand the basis of it, isn't it? Right? So, having said that, well, here we are. We have a great and eminent panel of experts with us who have, you know, years and years of hands-on experience on digital marketing. They really are the stalwarts. And on behalf of the India CX Summit, I welcome them to this particular panel. And without further ado, let's now discuss, gain some insights, and of course, some wisdom from these eminent personalities. Let me check. I mean, where do I and whom do I start with? I think these are absolute luminaries, right? I'll just kind of pick up one person, right? How about Rajan? Yeah? Rajan, are you up to it? Yeah. All right, perfect. So let's hear from Rajan. Rajan, I mean, we all are aware that in today's day and age, digital marketing is the primary driver for business. We all know that. I mean, without digital marketing, there is nothing. It's been long, but quite an interesting journey for marketeers across the globe. Today, it's all about hyper-personalization. I also heard somebody say in the other panel about hyper-personalization. It will be great if you can talk to us about the journey from personalization to hyper-personalization. What is the difference? And if you can probably elucidate certain examples, that will be really helpful for our audience here.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Okay. So I'll just put a philosophical tangent to the question. As you know, human conversations are becoming artificial and digital conversations are becoming real. So that is where the whole journey from personalization to hyper-personalization is going. Because if you look at personalization, it was all about understanding behavior, patterns, the way customer is purchasing. And now when you look at hyper-personalization, it is also about the context in which he's purchasing, he's making a decision. And understanding the context and delivering a product which is in the context in which the person is making a purchase decision, that's all where the companies are moving. Similarly, to give you an example for Daikin, though it's a machine, when you talk about Daikin air conditioners, it's typically perceived as a machine. But as a marketer, we want to, put an experience behind the machine and putting a technology behind the machine. So that's what our endeavor is. So to give you an example, that when we look at a customer purchasing an air conditioner, so there is a customer who is looking at a technology, and he is looking at some, for his to address the needs of a cool air in his house, and for that the most important aspect, it is about the heat load which the the machine can eradicate. So it's something of a technical term, but it is something which the consumers know in terms of tonnage. That मेरे इस room में 1.5 ton का AC लगेगा, मेरे इस room में 1 ton का AC लगेगा. So in that way, we've kind of made a calculator where you just put in the room size and put in the a visual display of the room and the what is where the room is placed, how much sunshine the room is getting, and automatically, the tonnage and the heat load will be calculated. So that's something that we have done for some of the customers who are looking for technology. Another example I'd like to give of a customer who is based out of Mumbai. Now, contextually, in Mumbai, some parts of Mumbai have these, because of the weather condition, a lot of corrosion. So we look at providing an AC which is corrosion free and giving that kind of message to that customer probably is contextually very important for him and makes the customer loyal to buy that product. So these are some typical examples which come to my mind when we look at hyper personalization.
Great, absolutely. In fact, you know what? I can vouch for it because we recently changed in my household. We changed the entire AC, like sab sare ghar ke light badal dunga types, right? And we in fact compared a lot of Blue Star and Daikin and eventually went in for Daikin. And what he's talking about is, as a customer, I can vouch for it because of our calculators and all. I could punch in the actual details of the room, the square feet and all that stuff, and it gave me the tonnage. And based on which we went on with the purchase. So thank you so much. I think it's worked fantastically well. That's where the hyper-personalization comes into picture, right at the customer, what they need. Going on further with this, and of course, I'll come back to you, Rajan, later on. Jayant, who joins us from Reliance Retail, right? Very big organization. Probably even Reliance does not know how many retail chains that they have and what kind of products they sell, right? From the marketing perspective, marketers, TG is extremely important, right? However, new age tech like AI, I mean, we are talking about AI, everybody is talking about AI, is changing the landscape. Nowadays, it's all about individual consumers. It's not only about the organizations or enterprise, it's all about individual customers. How do we acquire them? How do we satisfy them, right? Can you throw some light on this shift from a target group towards an individual level artificial intelligence?
Well, let me start with an anecdote. I shared it with another audience in the morning.
Can you get the mic closer, please? Yeah.
You know, most of us Indians we love cricket, like watching cricket. Yeah? And this is also to add to the personalization, hyper-personalization question that you had. Recently, there was an India-Pakistan match. And I was, sitting with somebody who was watching that. And he gets a message from an e-commerce company saying that, the last time there was an India-Pakistan match, India won. But it won after you had bought so-and-so mithai from so-and-so supplier. He gets this message. Now India is at 66-4. And situation is looking a bit dicey. So this gentleman suddenly says, oh, aisa, yaar, mithai mangate hain. I go, kyun? No, let's not jinx it. So he actually ordered the mithai. And then thankfully the match was cancelled due to rain, so we didn't lose, right? Mithai mangai to India bach gayi. Now just to tell you that, what's hyper-personalization and what's, when we talk about TG over there, what's happening? All of us who have been through, our education in marketing, we do understand what segmentation is and how, you tackle a certain set of, different segments for your different products and services. And you crafted your strategies and your communication according to that. Now today when you talk about hyper-personalization, we need to understand what are we talking about. Are we creating that many more different strategies? Obviously not. Nobody can manage those. What we are doing is, whatever backend we have in terms of technology and whatever process innovations, process improvements that we've done, a lot of technology that goes in there, that's not seen by the customer. What the customer sees is when he or she interacts with us at our physical outlets or across a virtual medium, how we reach out to them and what we say to them. It's basically communications. Instances like this. That's what hyper-personalization does for us, right? For all of us marketers. We do a lot of stuff at our back end in terms of technology. That's for us. That's for us to be able to service our customers better. It does not impress the customer much. It's not what the customer feels happy about or understands. That's now the cost of business. It's a hygiene condition. If you don't provide that kind of service process or service efficiency, you will be out. Nobody appreciates you. That's a necessary requirement. What the customer sees and feels is things which emotively connect with them. It's a very simple instance. They are marketing themselves, they are advertising themselves, but they reached out at just the right point. The technology to be able to do that and the data that you needed to collect in the past to be able to do this is phenomenal. Now, that's what hyper-personalization does. So therefore, what's a TG for you today? Who's your TG? Every single customer that you may have becomes a TG. Technology does allow us to be able to communicate to individual customers. So that, we used to talk about a target group when we had segmentation leading us into a marketing strategy. Fine. So those TGs and the 4 or 5 different segments that you will target with strategies is still there at the back end. But technology has allowed us to be able to reach out and talk to each individual specific customer, given that. So the time when we need to reach out to them, exactly what we want to sell to them, and what do we want to say to them, that has become easier. So companies will start talking about a TG of 1. It's not really a TG of 1. They are part of still a larger segment that we are trying to address. But because we can reach out to them individually, they are now a TG of 1.
Absolutely true. In fact, thank you so much for those insight, Jayant, especially the India-Pakistan anecdote, Just because of your sweets and the mithais that you ordered, India is now on a winning streak. So I'm sure in the next final, the India and Sri Lanka, we should order the sweets from wherever you ordered from. Absolutely. All right. So let's kind of change tracks now, and we'll go to another Reliance institution, a very large institution, Jio. And we have here with us Vijaybahu from Jio. And Vijay, I just wanted to kind of check with you also. It's quite common that content is the king. We all know that content is the king. You talk about Netflix, you talk about Amazon Prime and so on and so forth, you talk about Swiggy. Content is really the king. Better content rules the roost anywhere you go across the world. Customers are always looking for relevant content, and with the advent of AI, it becomes even more pertinent. Please share your thoughts as to how AI-fueled content marketing is driving customer experiences.
So we fundamentally know about this one-on-one, I would say, customization in terms of the outreach of marketing. We pretty much have, all of us have digital footprints, we have societal footprints, we have ghettos footprint, we have segmented footprints. So we pretty much know that who are walking into a certain league of context and what to communicate over there. It's like you walk into a certain area and then you are, bombed with a set of message. That's one part of it. So the one part is context, which is connected around people's memory and the ecosystem situational around. So I'm a bag full of memories and emotion, and I walk into a certain context like a conference here, right? Now, I won't speak of that because that is around your personalization and hyper-personalization. That's a topic which requires much longer discussion as well. I'll talk about an area which is, by and large, largely unattended area, which is around the creation of content. So content fundamentally is at a very, very gross level. It's a written word, it's a spoken word, and you can read that particular word. Now, when you consider a context like India, I'll just throw a data. The 1948 census documented 48,000 Indian languages and subdialects. 1998 consensus, which was published in Indian Express, then documented and dropped it down to 19,000 only. So that means there is a marked degradation. So these languages, which are fundamentally Indian languages, can be further subdivided into 22 prominent spoken languages, which is represented with 18 written scripts, which you call as lipis. Now, when we call up content, effectively it's voice, it's text. We don't have enough institutions in the country where even these type designs are actually done. So forget about, actually going through. So our mindset fundamentally, it started with digital marketing, which is an English-driven base. Now, we are still hovering around the same aspect over the last 10 years, right? And a majority of the audience, which we call as the true Bharat, are fundamentally unattended with respect to that area. People are dying out, their bolis are vanishing away, and we still don't have I would say, a voice to text and text to model at an institutional level to actually capture most of this. So the day we have this phonics properly recorded, these phonics are mapped to a certain script, and then you punch in a certain context and it's rendered to a certain audience in a certain area in a context and in a phonics, which he or she understands. I guess that will be a fundamental game changer with respect to content marketing.
Wow, that is really deep insight. Actually, this can only come from experience, rich and very diverse experience.
One last point to add to it. So if you go through 1947, so have you heard of a script called Devanagari?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
Devanagari is used by majority of Indian languages as well. So today we know about Kakhaga with Swar and Vyanjan. We know it's a bunch of under 100 of these characters. You'll be shocked to know when we, in 1947, I was going through a book by Bapu Rao Naik. It had documented 6,400 glyphs, which are these many characters and these many pronunciations. So, but at that point of time, we never had technology. The only technology available for documentation of language was Reddington typewriter. So they said, okay, since we don't have a technology, let's drop down our Varnmala. Let's only keep the 72 characters. As in when we will have, better technology, we will expand the language. But they forgot to have the second convention, which was meant to be in Lucknow, which was meant to actually be in 1960 as the second convention. It never took place.
Right.
And we lost the language.
Oh, absolutely. I think it is coming up now because of the entire Bharat concept and all. But you're absolutely right. I think you have dug deep, very deep into the ethos of history and come out with these gems, So thank you so much for helping us out with these insights. I'll, of course, come back to you again, gentlemen from Geo. Let's kind of shift gears now and let's talk to somebody who's from the hospitality industry, He's come to us from Radisson. His name is Gaurav. He's with us today. Now, Gaurav, we all know about data, right? How important data is. And people are going crazy. The world is going crazy about data. Nowadays, of course, it is considered to be the greatest asset. Forget about the oil, the petrol, and all that stuff. Data is the greatest asset. In fact, to the fact that this entire digital protection, personal data protection bill has also come out, right? The act has come out. Can you let us know how one uses data analytics to create a proper segmentation and media plan? How do you sort of slice and dice, and how does one help this entire into media plan?
Good evening, everyone. I believe data and analytics is very important aspect wherein you can provide the type of service what one individual is looking for. So being from the hotel industry, I believe this data, we can create a lot of reports out of that by looking into the booking history of the customer or the guest who's coming in through various social modules, through the feedbacks, through the reviews which one gives on a social platform or the feedback system from the unit itself. So these data can be collated together, and a lot of segmentation can be looked into it. So this data can also be later used to optimize your revenues, look into the pricing strategies, then give a much better guest experience. Look into your competition set, what they are doing, any new services which are coming in, and we can also identify the new processes, any new competition which is coming up in the market. So this is, I believe, data comes into the picture for the hotels at least.
All right, thank you so much. And I think
Can
this
I
data
add
is
to that?
Yes,
Just for
absolutely.
the understanding. I mean, when we talk about data, what exactly is data? Right? Decades back, we used to collect specifics of, demographics, age, gender, occupation, a few other things about people. Right? Things that you asked specifically collected, transaction data. So when we sell something to people and we've digitized the data, we've got that kind of data. Today, you would read this everywhere. People are saying that every 2 years, we are doubling the quantum of data that has existed in the world, right? So where's all this data coming from, and what is this data that we keep talking about? Anything that you do in terms of dialing, calling somebody, an email that you sent, a search that you did on Google, anything that you posted, now that becomes data. Okay? All your social media activity translates into data. Any query, anything that you made on a search engine is data today. And all of this data, there are agencies and companies which are accumulating this data about you at the back end without you even knowing that this data exists. Okay? Try doing an experiment. I say this to all the audiences. Don't put your phone on. You're not calling anybody. Don't make a search. Just leave your phone next to it and talk about a particular brand or in a place that you wanted to visit. Just talk about, I want to go to New Zealand, for example, or Iceland. And what you'll notice is, you will start getting ads, you'll start getting, offers in your email, through WhatsApp about that thing. That's how insidious data is today. You don't even know it's being collected about you. So data today is everything about everybody. And how we end up using, how commercial organizations end up using that kind of data is something that should concern all of us. So this new data privacy law basically should be tackling that. But we are sitting on so much of data about people.
Absolutely.
Technically, we know more about people than people know themselves.
Right, and I'll bring it back to the hospital industry, and that's where Radisson and other organizations also come into picture. It so happens that, and I was talking to Gaurav earlier as well, it so happens as pre-COVID, there was this, I used to pay 100 rupees or $100 for a room, now we have to pay like $250 and so on and so forth. How do they know, first of all, They know because they have data from us. I mean, because we have stayed with them for a long time or a long period of time, they know that these guys, this particular guest likes this particular room or type of room, quality of service and so on and so forth, and that's how exactly it comes into picture. By the way, for you, Jayant as well, data today, right now, as we speak, data is being collected with the organizers. You have this video camera out there. They're taping us, right? They're recording us, and it's going to be published, hopefully, everywhere else with your permission and approvals as well. So that's how data is ubiquitous for us. Having said that, I'd like to kind of come back to Rajan, you, and he's of course from Daikin. Let's talk now about this new age digital innovations. Now, these new age digital innovations have led to full-scale automation, right, in the marketing realm. This has resulted in the emergence of fully automated, and I say fully automated, always-on marketing. You don't need humans at all, sort of anywhere to kind of talk about it or to sort of make some insertions. It's always on. It's automated, right? Can you talk to us about the impact of this new trend on customer experience from the perspective of digital marketing, automation, always on, 24/7?
So can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
You've been asking.
Absolutely, yes.
So you look very fit. So what is your CCC?
I'll
Calorie
take
count check.
calorie count check. I might not know. The reason behind this is, and I would depend on you guys. Thank you so much, firstly, for talking about I'm fit, because I'm pretty old, to be very very honest. But I come from the healthcare background. So if I have to preach healthcare to everybody else, first I need to be kind of really fit,
Yeah.
and that's how it is.
So I think the reason I asked this question was that there is a growing tendency of people getting fit and looking at CCC. But there is another trend which is SCC. Do you know that?
I'm not so sure. I'm not aware. I'm sure everybody is looking forward to it. If you can enlighten us.
So it is the screen count check. How much time you are spending on the screen? So if you look at a customer, in India, is spending 8 hours of his time on the mobile phone.
The average global is around 5 hours per screen.
So when you are spending this amount of time on the screen and mobile, so a marketer has to be always on. It cannot be a campaign-based marketing which only happens season to season. It should be there when the trigger for a customer happens. I may be, participating in this discussion, but simultaneously, if the question is not directed at me, I may be, purchasing something, or I may be getting some offer from Reliance Retail, or from Jio to do something. So that's what it has happened. The context, the understanding has changed. The consumer is always on the mobile. Marketer has to deliver the message through the algorithms, through the automated channel, so that the message is registered. And it is there for him to really make that decision. I'd like to give an example from our industry.
Sure.
One of the category is, which is really seen a growth over the past, is an air purification category. So air purifiers earlier were only used in North when there used to be pollution. But they were, and it was like a very seasonal kind of a category. But there was, a company which started talking about it every day, that you should use it every day, because the health is important for every day. Purification of your room is important every day. And with so much of messaging and customization and personalizing, the message, that it became something of a usage of for every day. And that is how, the categories are now getting created. That is what the power of always on marketing is. And I would say that it will keep on growing this way, and marketers have to really do the catch-up game, because the consumer is moving very, very fast.
Absolutely spot on, actually. And that was a great example of the air quality index also up north. And we keep hearing that it is bad, but I think it is improved as well. Yes, please.
It's very interesting for you to say it's 24 hours marketing, always on marketing. Yes, because it's all technology, you don't need a human to intervene, and all the, algorithms are working all the time to, identify opportunities and instances when they reach out to you. But I have a slightly counter question. You have a house, you have a door, right? And you have a bell outside. That's an invitation for somebody to come and ring the bell. How frequently do you want people to ring your bell? Right? We are overdoing this. As marketers, we are overdoing this opportunity of reaching out to our customers. It's not just one company who's doing that. Technology which has become available has allowed all marketers across categories to start reaching out to the customer. It's the same customer. I ask you, you're all customers, just how many communications do you receive in a day? How many on WhatsApp, how many on email, and how many of these do you actually see? We as marketers will have to start realizing that this entire, thing has been, jing-bang has been overdone. This always-on marketing should be within the perception and a context of what the customer wants and not what we can do. Just because I can go and ring your bell doesn't mean that I do it. It will be a very funny situation if every time somebody passes by your door, they ring your bell, right? Let's keep that in mind.
That's true. As a kid, we used to do that, in fact.
Just like to add to this, I'll give a personal instance on what Jain had said. I'm from Chandigarh, so I was looking out for a property in Chandigarh, sitting in Mumbai. So just browsing through Google, Magic Bricks, and various different portals. So I got a call from Panchkula that you are looking out for a property. So I said, obviously, yes, I'm looking out for property. But eventually I started getting calls from Mumbai, wherein I was obviously not looking into it. So I believe the demographics which were used in that specific search or the data which the company was taking was incorrect. So again, what Sir said, I justify.
Absolutely. Nowadays, there are NDNCs also. You can bar the marketers and promotional activities coming to us. I'm not saying that the marketers will always find their own way of getting into your house for sure, whether it's ringing the bell or rigging the bell. You don't never know about it, right? But yeah, you want to come in.
Yeah, so I just want to comment on this is that, when I said that the screen time is so much, so mobile is a friend now. So when mobile is a friend, I understand, I take your point that, you don't want the doorbell to ring every time. But and for a marketer, it's not necessary that we should always be doing a sales pitch. It is something that we could always add a value. And that is where the creative part in marketing would come. What is the value that we could add to that customer other than the sales pitch if we are ringing the bell so many times? And that is how we probably have to look at it and, kind of design our messages, design our innovation, design the innovation around it so that we are engaging with the customers in a way he wants. Because the engagement has to happen. The screen time cannot be reduced. It's now a reality that the screen time is going to go up and up till some intervention is done where the screen time has to be there. So when there is a space available, how often do you ring the bell, and what is it that you're bringing in? Every time you're bringing a pizza or a mithai, and it is kind of good for the customer, I think we should look at venture. But your point is taken. Thank you.
Yeah, unless in fact the government steps in also, like in China and Singapore recently. We have heard, and there are policies which have been made now, wherein they are restricting the screen time for kids. They have kind of made it mandatory for all the providers, the mobile cell operators, to make it mandatory to reduce the screen size. It will just not open up. It will just not play. It will not run. That is something which is happening. But coming to this, and earlier, whilst we began this discussion, I promised you that we're going to keep it very free-flowing and interactive. And the next question, rather than for the panelists, I'm going to throw it open to the audience now. There's a question coming to you, and I'll request the organizers here if you can kind of float the mics here. Just one question coming your way, guys. And this is something which you can address. You are stalwarts and experienced people yourself as well. We'd like to hear from you and learn from you here. Like I said, in today's day and age, generating ROI, which is return on business and investment, has become the quintessential element for any corporations, right? If you can let us know and enlighten us about the techniques for optimizing marketing assets and measuring the ROI of your marketing campaigns. If anybody can respond to this, just show your hand, and I can see the gentleman here. Very quick. Thank you so much for the response. Can we have somebody get the mic to him, please? Yeah, there you go.
Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and I am
Abhishek.
from Wokhar Pharmaceuticals here, along with my seniors. And I think exactly this ROI question has been asked, especially in digital purview, because the one reason is nobody knows how to do it, and second assumption is everyone knows how to do it. So just to give example, in our case, of course, because healthcare and pharma industry is something which is very regulated, and when we run a campaign, basic way to calculate ROI, I know there are basic metrics like CPC, CPM, they exist. But along with that, the revenue is something which we calculate for that matter. So in our case, whenever we are running a campaign on our doctor networking platforms like DocPlexus or HiDoc, we get leads. Leads are nothing but the interests. We assume that how many prescriptions the specific doctor has a potential to generate every week-on-week basis, and this happens via direct connections with the medical reps and field force, etc. And then we calculate over a period of 2 months or 3 months, what is the tentative prescriptions are generated, multiplied by if it's a chronic or acute therapy, maybe if it's an antibiotic, it's a 5-day course, so we multiply the prescription into 5 days, over a period of number of days into month, and then standard formula of revenue minus investment upon investment into 100 will give you the ROI. But all this ROI is more of a prospective per se, not a retrospective one. The prospective ROI has so many assumptions into it. And those assumptions include, number one, my stock is available at the right place. Number two, when I get a lead, my field force is actually going and meeting the physicians. My field force is scientifically equipped and knowledgeable enough to comment on the nuances of a medicine and everything. So ROI calculation is definitely one way to calculate is like this, but in my opinion, there are so many assumptions involved which need to be at a standard place if I want the standard ROI to be calculated.
All right, thank you so much, Abhishek, for the insights. I think it's great. He deserves a round of applause. Thank you so much. We'll come back to the expert panelists here. I'd like to now talk to Ashok Jaiswar. He's from Finolex Industries with us, which manufactures those pipes. I'm sure it is all hidden in your houses, but that's what they do. Pretty good at that. Ashok, during your several years of professional journey, you've been having a lot of experiences as well. You have designed and executed various techniques, right, and strategies in terms of marketing. It will be great if you can elucidate as to how does one build a digital strategy that meets the evolving expectations of customers.
Thank you. I would take a small example and take everybody back 2 years. This was the time when wave 2 COVID was there, and we were sitting. So I was not with Finolex, I was there with some other automotive company. And this was the time when we were designing a two-wheeler, an electric scooter, right? It was pretty challenging because everybody was, right, everybody still today is considering electric as, should we not? At that point of time when we were designing, we were doing a small study, and this is involving the technology, etc. into that, saying that how should the comfort of the vehicle be? Because mileage was the given thing. So we designed a vehicle which was 16% more comfortable than the competition. And to do that, we involved several people coming and doing sitting exercise on the vehicle, and we had sensors installed, etc. to understand. But everybody who came, and as Indians we value, they came across and said, thoda aur chahiye, thoda aur. Now the thing is, we bettered the product, we launched it, but during that period, wherever we could do the study we did, but wherever we wanted to bring back, we wanted to communicate to the audience saying that, look, this product is better. And during that period, we came across with, we worked across with the VR thing, saying that everybody who is stationed at home can't come back or can't see it. Let them watch it on their mobile phone, understand the product, understand the nitty-gritties and come back. So the whole idea is, that was the time when digital actually took place. I mean, digital has been there for a long time. But after that, really it has taken place. So we all see a lot of increase in virtual meets, a lot of automation, a lot of other things happening. So the whole idea was that how can we make it simple for everybody to understand? How can we make it simple for everybody to understand your not just product but everything, so that they can buy your product in a very simple and lucid manner. So that was one part of the story. And then secondly, connecting back to the e-commerce, connecting back to the automation piece to see that how can we connect more. So somebody said here, it's digital is not just for selling, but it's also for adding a lot of value. So in terms of adding value, I think this platform provides us a very good methodology by which we can beam consistent messages, and we can talk about a lot of valuable things to the end consumers. So I think this is where we can customize and create it. Obviously, there are a lot of other examples depending upon the kind of people that we interact with. Somebody who is buying an SUV to somebody who is buying a small product worth 20 rupees. You can customize your campaigns, reach out to them. So that is how you can bifurcate and move.
Great, absolutely. Yes, as a consumer, dil mange more, thoda aur, very good. Nice insights from you. Any thoughts from you, Rajan, on this? Probably if you can keep it very short. I can see the timing, the time is running away.
So my take on this is that the digital, as we've all been talking about, is kind of evolving space. And if you look at the trends, the themes that we discussed during these two conferences, all those things, would be part of the digital strategy. But the point here is that, we look at a strategy being a science or an art. So we need to synthesize and look at what is it which is making us relate to the context of the consumer. And that is what will be the part of a digital strategy. So that is where I think the digital strategy holds the key.
Absolutely. Context, well said. Time for audience as well, interactive. Be alert on this. I'm going to ask you 3 rapid questions now. Please put your hands up and probably I'll get the mic to you, right? First and foremost, what is digital marketing? Anybody? Anybody? Digital marketing. Quick, we're running out of time. Guys, girls, you are. Again, we have Abhishek here. Is there anybody else? I just want to make sure that everybody gets an opportunity here. Yes, this gentleman. I'll come back to you, Abhishek. But can we get the mic here, please, to the gentleman? If you can introduce yourself.
Good evening. I'm Farzad, photographer. I head marketing at Godrej Security Solutions.
Kotak Securities, is it?
Godrej Security
Okay, all right.
Solutions.
Okay.
So digital marketing is promoting your brand online to the online consumer.
Okay, so that's a short and simple response. Thank you so much. I think it's partly right. Obviously, there's a lot of elaborate responses to this. But yes, deserves a round of applause. Thank you so much. Next question quickly to you. Will AI replace human marketers? Anybody? Anybody? There, at the end. Will AI replace human marketers?
Hello, good evening. My name is Vikas Bakshi. I am from Panasonic. Nothing to be afraid of AI. Of course, AI is going to be taking some jobs, but ultimately it will create a lot of opportunities for having more jobs in the futures, in the near future. Because ultimately, to operate AI, we need manpower. So that's my take on this. Thank you.
Right, so you're talking about AI is definitely going to augment the resources as well. Different type of jobs.
Yeah.
Probably the old and traditional jobs will fall by, but there will be different types of jobs coming up. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Thank you so much, the gentleman here. The last question, rapid fire. What are the 7 C's of digital marketing? Anybody? Yes, I see Abhishek here. Abhishek probably is going to take the cake and the cream as well. Abhishek, up to you.
In my opinion, it is community, content, commerce, channel, context, and consistency.
Very nice, very close in fact, and thank you so much. The original 7 C's of digital marketing obviously are customer, community, convenience, cohesion, context, and conversion. Thank you so much. So you spoke about consistency. That is the 8th one, which commonly is now, we follow it and we find it today in today's day and age. Consistency is very good. Whether it's in game of sports, probably it is in digital marketing, it's one and the same. So thank you so much. For the audience, we'll come back to the panel of experts, and I wanted to kind of go back to what Vijaybahu had mentioned, content. You spoke about content. If you can just elaborate more on this content. Is content good? How? Bad? Ugly? Nowadays, we talk about and we see deep fake, right? There's always deep fake everywhere, content included. How does one identify deep fake? And if it is original, how does one originally identify this? And how does one, I don't know, what kind of content should be kind of marketed? It's a trick question, but I think you're well equipped to answer that.
Yeah, it's a kind of an infosec question, to be honest. I mean, we keep on getting these trainings where these are mock drills where we need to identify.
But from a marketing standpoint, how does the marketer sort of take care of it?
So slightly again a tricky one. I mean, it's a no single line answer overall. And this comes with a note of a caution, and I'll tie this reply to the previous concept of context. So, I mean, I earlier said, I mean, there is something called as a content, and content is tied up to a context. Now, when we talk about something called as a personalization here, there are 2 buckets which are appearing clearly. One, initially we used to call this mass communication, which in a fundamental context, if you just call it, it's mass contextualization, and then there is something called as niche contextualization. Incidentally, what has started happening is brands in this FOMO factor started jumping onto every context. I think across the panel you'll find there are brands who are communicating with every possible opportunity across every possible event. If there is a ship which is being stuck at Suez Canal, there is a shoe polish brand who is also communicating on top of that, right? Where we are kind of forgetting partly is that a consumer fundamentally lives through this string of contexts. So I say I as a customer like have fallen sick and I'm wearing a context of a hospital. Then again I'm attending an institute like I'm wearing a context of a student. Then I'm attending a marriage place, now I'm attending a context of a marriage. It's the same person, right? So what brand need to identify, what are the contexts they need to get associated with, that's one. Amongst these string of concepts, which are the ones which stick to their value system and they are able to create a value. If you are able to identify that, very clearly the brand will know that I need to be available in these many contexts, not at all the context, right? Now within that space, you need to identify which are the fake conversations happening, which are the non-fake conversations happening, and that is where the AI, of course, I mean, Twitter tried to do that, Facebook tried to do that, which is, you bust out fake news, right? It is again, how do you train a particular model? Who are the people who are training it? And are they having any propaganda behind it? Are they having any bias behind it? So it's an endless story.
Absolutely. Propaganda marketing, and that is something which we are looking forward to. But thank you so much for responding to that question. It was a trick question, as you said, but you really responded well. At this point in time, we're just out of time, but I just want to make sure that I ask the last question, and I want to bring in Ashok at this point in time. Let's talk about the customer journey and how to keep it very simple. Everybody knows that customer journey should be kept simple. However, to make the journey simpler, there has to be perfect harmony amongst companies' internal elements. Can you talk to us about how does one align people, process, and technologies to recognize customer journey? Let's keep it short. Probably we are running out of time.
Brands are interacting with customers on an everyday basis. Two parts of the story, back end, front end. Front end is your consumer who wants it very simple, non-complicated, make my life simpler, easy to access, easy to use, easy to replicate. And on the back end, whatever that we are creating with help of various cross-functional teams here. So whenever we are creating a product or a service, you have so many people aligned, product, service, engineering, and so on and so forth. So everybody has to be aligned with one single goal in mind, saying that how can we service that particular customer in a very simple way. So create product or service that is going to be helpful and keep it simple. That is one. Second thing is so that you can use it in a simpler way. Second thing is about communication also in terms of consumer journey. You see there are a lot of interactions which are happening on an every single day basis. Nowadays, not just the marketeers are interacting. There are so many people else who are interacting, and customer also has got access to so many other people within the organization. Previously, marketers used to safeguard the communication. They were gatekeepers of the brand. Today, if you see, there are so many people who are interacting. There are investors who are directly coordinating with the CTOs of the company to understand, is the company investing it right? Is it going in the right direction or not? So many people have to be aligned to one single goal. The class bell is on. So many people are aligned to one single goal, and we have to see that how should we make the entire process simple and get that customer life easier and better. That's what.
Absolutely, thank you. I think there was a loud ring of the bell. I'll just request the organizers if we can throw open the room for audience questions, couple of audience questions or one audience question. All right, so we have room for only one audience question. If anybody wants to please raise a hand if you have a question here for the expert panel. I'm sure the panel of experts here are more than happy to address any of your questions that you might throw at them. Anybody, we have a great opportunity here. We have 5 of the best known experienced people.
Any questions from the audience? We can take one quick question. Please raise your hand and please do introduce yourself and your company and the question to which panel member. And if it's a generic one, I think Ninad is the right person to decide which panel to take. Which panel member
absolutely.
To take.
Anybody. Either probably everybody they know anything and everything about digital marketing and hence they don't want to ask the question, or probably we did not do a good job here.
I think it's probably the first one because you guys did a fantastic job.
Absolutely. All right. So
big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for this wonderful panel on responsible digital marketing. would request the panel members to kindly be on the stage, and I would like to call on stage Mr. Meldon Moraz, Vice President Marketing and Partnerships from Connect Insights, to kindly do the honors of felicitating this wonderful panel here.
I would just want to spend one moment here. In fact,
Sure,
I just wanted to thank the entire audience for joining us here and for making sure that you interacted, made it inclusive, and of course, I want to thank the panel of experts here for enlightening us, and we learned a lot from you. Thank you so much. They deserve a round of applause, huge round of applause. Thank you so much for that. And with that, I would also like to thank the organizers of the India CX Summit for inviting us here. Back to the host here.
Thank you so much, Ninad. And we'll start the felicitation of the panel with Mr. Vijaybahu Joshi from Juhu. A big round of applause to Mr. Joshi. Thank you so much, Mr. Joshi, for your wonderful contribution in the panel session. Moving next to Mr. Jain from Reliance Retail. A big round of applause to Mr. Jain for his wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next to Mr. Ashok Jaiswar from Finolex Industries. Thank you so much, Ashok ji, for your wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next to Mr. Gaurav Vig from Radisson Blue, Mumbai International Airport. Thank you so much, Gaurav, for your wonderful contribution in the panel. Moving next to Mr. Rajan Sharma from Daikin Air Conditioning, India. Thank you so much, Rajan ji, for your wonderful contribution in the panel. And finally, I would like to call our honorable moderator for this panel, Mr. Ninad Raje from HealthAssure. Thank you, Ninad, for wonderfully moderating the panel. Great session, great panel. Would humbly request the panel members to kindly step forward for a group photograph, and Meldon, please join them as well. And ladies and gentlemen, final big round of applause for this wonderful panel. The final panel of the two-day summit of India CX Summit and Awards. Panel number 8, Responsible Digital Marketing, Duty, Desire, or Both. And we had a fantastic mix of panel members from Juhu, Reliance Retail, Finolex Industries, Radisson Blue, Daikin Air Conditioning, and Ninad wonderfully moderating that from HealthAssure. Thank you all panel members for your valuable contribution. Thank you, Ninad, for wonderfully moderating the panel session.